Me too.
I would take a tie
Me
at this
too.
point. Welcome in. The chat knows because I posted this one. That Tokyo Brandon and I are sweating out a KBO game that's in like the 11th inning right now on air. But it's time for Total Bases Thursday morning. A great Thursday slate. I'm going to have an attitude this morning unless SSG pulls this out. I lost my 5%er with the Giants last night. The Yankees somehow choked away another game. We'll talk. We'll probably touch on what is wrong with that team on the show. But we got to get into it. There's a bigger Thursday slate than normal. I've got Bryan Leonard, Tokyo Brandon. Let's just get right into it. Yankees Angels. Bryan, I thought that was a home run spot for the Yankees. On the show yesterday, you said minus 205, minus 200 was value. I think I saw that up in the minus 280 range at one point yesterday. And yet they found a way to lose to a bad Angels team. They play again today. Do you want any part of this? Or are we just going to the next game?
Yeah, I watched that game pretty much all the way through. Koshanowicz was great. He had career high in strikeouts at 8. He was very tough. It was either he was very good or the Yankees' bats were very bad. The Yankees only get 3 more hits, 2 of them home runs. And I was talking to TB before the show, and that's the way the Yankees have been for years, is they get all the power, and if they don't hit home runs, they can't manufacture runs. And that's the situation they're in now, is they don't have guys that'll hit, 250 or 270 and move the runners over or do anything like that. They just all get up there and swing for the fences. And when you're in a slump like the whole team is, it's ridiculous. In fact, going into the last few days, I talk about how teams do WRC plus versus lefties. Just a week ago, the Yankees were at like 139, which was leading Major League Baseball. Now they've dropped down to number 2 at 125. So they have really struggled against lefties. They talked about it on the game, why they couldn't hit lately, and it was just frustrating as hell. And then to top it off, they leave the game with the bases loaded. And I was terrible yesterday. Anything I touched went to shit. I went 0-4. 3 of the games I lost by a half a run or a full run. Just one of those days, nothing went right for me. So I'm just glad that I only limited myself to 4 plays, but I lost them all. And it was just a horrendous day for myself. This game, we're seeing Anderson coming in for the Angels. And he's talking about crafty veteran lefties. He's one of them. He's been in 10 seasons. This is 10th season, and he's got a 4.28 ERA in his career, 4.44 this year. Expected ERA 4.36, 1.37 WHIP. That's always been a problem. He's a fly ball pitcher. He's only got 7 percentile in the ground ball rate. Fastball velocity is in the 2nd percentile. Extension in the 15th. So he's going to give up fly balls. Teams are going to have a good chance to see what he's throwing. And since he doesn't throw the ball very hard, they should be able to hit it. Problem is, we know this Yankees team right now are really struggling offensively. I've been from Cleveland. The Yankees I've always been a hater of the Yankees. Steinbrenner tried to buy the Cleveland Indians before he went to the Yankees, and Cleveland turned him down. He goes to the Yankees, and we all know the history since then. Carlos Rondon is on the mound. He's been terrific. 3.01 ERA, 2.79 expected, 0.99 WHIP. A lot of red in his profile, but he also doesn't have extension. He's in the 20th percentile in extension. And some of his barrel rates, hard hit rates, and ground ball rates are a little bit lacking. They're better than league average, but he can be hit hard. And the way the Angels are hitting the ball lately, we could see. Normally, I would say we could see some runs here, but based on the way the Yankees are hitting, I can't lay that number today. I took the shot yesterday and didn't work out for me, and I'm just going to lay off and wait for them to start putting it all together again. I thought there was great value yesterday, and I think a lot of people did, but didn't work out for us, and it cost us our parlay, which really sucks when you have a 2-1 favorite, and that's the one that costs you the parlay. So pretty down today. Obviously, based on everything that happened.
Yeah, we all lose and we all win. You know, if you make 1,000 bets, you're going to lose 10 in a row. You're going to win 10 in a row. So, don't be too down. I won my 5% play. I don't want to go on and on about it, or Bryan will get upset. So, so I was happy. I had the Astros yesterday. I just knew that they were going to basically dominate that game. So people are asking, how do you watch KBO? If you go to SOOP, you can watch KBO, and I'm watching live right now because Adam and I are both on SSG here. Home run in the bottom of the ninth. We're in the extra innings here, and they got a man on first with no
Got
out.
it as
So,
well here,
yeah,
TV.
Adam's doing the same thing. So yeah, SOOP. Just find that app and you can watch KBO for free. Anything. I wish American companies did that, and I wish Japanese companies did that. Japanese baseball is like impossible to watch. But anyway. Unless you're here in Japan, I get it on all my channels and on the internet, but outside of Japan, it's impossible. So let's go to this game. I do have a 4% play out today that I like a lot, but it's not this game. So I have the Yankees, you know, even though they're struggling, I still have them. Well, the Angels I have ranked 24 and the Yankees I have ranked 25 in current form. So basically negligible, right? They're both basically both bad. Got the bullpens ranked 13 and 14 in current form. The big difference here, I've never liked Carlos Rodon that much, but I got him, my numbers love him. He's ranked 16 out of 250 pitchers, according to my numbers. Isn't he old as dirt? I don't even know how old he is, but it seems like he's been around forever, but he's probably only like 32. But someone in the chat will know. Bryan probably knows off the top of his head.
Yeah, 32.
32. Hey, I got it. I didn't even look. So, hey. But yeah, 32 is starting to get up there in MLB terms. But, you know, there's a lot of guys who are older than that are pitching well. He's having a great season. And I've never really been a huge fan of him, but he's better than Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson used to be a guy who I loved to take his out props over because he always finished 6 innings. And the book always priced him at like less than 6 innings. So I would always take his overs. He's not that guy anymore. So I'm off his outs prop this season. I have the Yankees a huge advantage at starting pitcher. This looks to me like it's going to be like a 2-1 or a 3-1 Yankees win. To me is what it looks like. Just hit a 2-run home run. SSG. We cashed it, Adam. All right.
Hey, whoa. We still have to get 3 outs in the bottom of this inning, and it's
no.
KBO,
this is a win.
We didn't cash anything yet. Keep going. Keep talking about the Yankees.
You learned that by now. Not over till it's over.
It's over. Anyways, 2 runs are nice though. But anyways, Bryan and I had this conversation. I like to count my chickens before they're hatched, but I know bettors don't like to do that. I go against the grain a little. But anyway, this looks like a 3-1, 2-1 kind of game win for the Yankees. I probably won't play it because they're minus 210 or something like that, which is the only advantage I see is starting pitching. So I wouldn't take odds that are more than minus 150.
Yeah, they're way more than minus 210. That's the problem. Bryan kind of made the point. If the Yankees were what they were yesterday, I would say you should be all over that again. The problem is there's not the value there was yesterday. When we were on the show yesterday, I think there was still some minus 200s out there, minus 205. You know, that ended up going off something like minus 285. If you took the Yankees yesterday when we were on the show, you had like 80 cents of CLV. Now you throw that right in the trash. It lost, but still, like we pointed out the value. It was a good, it was theoretically, it was the right bet. It was a good bet from a, you know, getting the best of the number standpoint. It just didn't work out. Here, the books have already sort of priced you out. Now, if you weren't on the Yankees yesterday, you haven't been on the Yankees at all, and you wanted to jump in here, the problem is you can't even really lay the run line because the run line's like minus 140. I was going to say, if you could get a minus 1.5 that was fair and say, you know, and you hadn't lost on the Yankees to this point, I suppose that would make sense. With where it is, like, I think the Yankees are going to win. I think they're going to win today. I'd be shocked if they get swept. Then again, I'm shocked they lost yesterday, but I totally understand like not wanting to burn more money on the Yankees. And I think kind of Robert said that in the chat, like, well, let's just move on to something else. You know, they'll probably win, but who's trying to mess with this team. And one more point that I think Bryan made a good point. Anderson's a veteran, right? Like I thought they could have got to Kachanowicz. Anderson can take advantage of a lineup that's out of sorts. That would be my concern there. So, but wanted to talk about that. Go ahead, TV.
Sorry to interrupt. Maybe Jose in the chat's got a decent point. Maybe first 5 would be the way to look. I mean, first 5 minus a half run, but the way the Yankees are hitting right now, it's pretty dangerous to lay a half run with this. I have a feeling, Rodon will be able to hold the Angels down, but can the Yankees score or not is the question.
Well, a lot of other games. Kaz Mendoza is always in the on-demand chat. We appreciate her joining live today. She's got an interesting question. Because this is an interesting matchup in another scenario where we've got a team going for a sweep. Kaz says, do we think the Blue Jays can sweep the Diamondbacks? Personally thought the Diamondbacks' best chance to win was probably yesterday. So this one sort of sets up for the Blue Jays. Do you think the same, Bryan Leonard?
Yeah, yesterday was popular with the Arizona. There's some guys I trade plays with, and they had big opinions on Arizona yesterday. That one didn't work out either. I think a lot of people struggled yesterday, but it's a new day, and we get them back today. Nelson and Gausman. Current line's about 138 on Gausman, 8.5. Ryan Nelson, 4.14 ERA, 4.42 expected, a 1.14 WHIP. The extension's great in the 83rd percentile. Fastball velocity, very good at 74. But his chase rate is only in the 7th, expected batting average in the 15th, whiff percent in the 15th. He's a quad A player. This is his 4th season, and he's gotten chances. And his whip is always a little bit high. His ERA is a little bit high. People are waiting for the breakout, and we're still not seeing it. It's getting to the point where they're going to start giving up on him, and that's when we'll probably get some pretty good lines on betting on him when he's pitching. Kevin Gausman, 4.08 ERA, 3.75 expected, very nice. 1.07 WHIP, very nice. His chase rate, 79th percentile. Walk rate, 74th percentile. He does get hit hard. Hard is 27th percentile in the barrel rate a little bit. Ground ball rate, only the 24th percentile, so he'll give up some fly balls. But overall, he's had a pretty good season. His ERA is a little bit higher than it's been the last couple of years. But his expected ERA, 3.75, is basically what he's been. We know what we're going to get out of him, and we've got a pretty good hitting team behind him. For myself, I think the line is probably right. I slightly lean with Toronto. I think there's a little bit of value on Toronto, but these two teams, to myself, are close offensively. They're very close. The best player for Arizona yesterday got hit with a pitch. He stayed in the game, and then they pulled him out later without knowing what the center fielder's situation is here. I wouldn't want to play Arizona until I know he's back in the game and back healthy. But there's a lot more games to look at today, and so it's a pass for me.
When I run the numbers here, surprisingly, I have Arizona with the better lineup and the better bullpen, but I have Gausman ranked 12 on a curve of 30, where I have Nelson ranked 13, and I can't stand Nelson. He's a guy that I've always faded. Well, I usually stay away from his games because it's kind of unpredictable, but man, my numbers say that the pitching is negligible, and the Diamondbacks have 2 big advantages over the Blue Jays here. However, when you look at the walk rates and things dive a little deeper, Gausman is much better pitcher than Nelson. So, it's kind of one of those where you're stuck in the mud. You want to lean this way, and then I'll lean this way, and then what should I do? If you look at Nelson's history against these batters, he's been crushed. So maybe the Blue Jays team total over would be a way to go. But if it's 4.5, to me, that's too high. So I'll probably stay off this one.
Yeah, Nelson's a guy I've always liked from an upside standpoint. He's a really good he's just got a really good fastball. He's one of those guys that I think when you look at the intangibles, you say, okay, like there's definitely like serious big league upside here. I always thought that when he was at AAA. He showed flashes of it at the big league level. The problem is, it's actually very similar to like Brandon Pfaadt. Like he doesn't really have the like secondary out pitch to generate a ton of swing and miss. So he's got this big fastball. It plays at AAA, right? Because like for the most part, a AAA lineup is just not as, it's not that they're not as experienced, but it's either guys that aren't as experienced or just can't handle like big league pitching. That dude's got a big league fastball. The problem is the other stuff isn't there. And if you don't get swing and miss on your secondary stuff, then dudes can just wait around and hit a fastball. And I wouldn't want to go again. I wouldn't want to challenge the Blue Jays to do that, right? This Blue Jays lineup's got guys that can hit. The Blue Jays are a very good baseball team, in my opinion, and they're streaky. So the Jays are not really a team that I want to play when things are starting to roll good, right? You saw them a couple weeks ago when things were going good. They're getting the timely hits. They had a little lull. I see that. Are we celebrating right there, TB? I don't know what that is.
One more out.
Okay. You had a little bit of a lull over the weekend when they got swept by the Phillies, because I think it goes both ways for the Blue Jays. I think when things are not going well for the Jays, it snowballs. When things are going well, they seem to rattle off a few wins. So they get the walk-off win on Tuesday night, take the momentum into last night, win a game 8-1, don't really use their top bullpen arms. I think that's key, because that's one thing with the Jays. The bullpen the bullpen's very solid, but they do still lack serious depth down there, in my opinion. So I wouldn't want to mess with them today. I think, and Gausman, these veteran guys like Gausman, Bassett, when guys are playing good ball behind them, it's almost like they're in cruise control. I think that's another reason that Barrios, Gausman, Bassett, all kind of having good seasons this year. It would be Blue Jays or pass here for me. All right, let's hit a different game. I'm going to just take one at random here. Yeah, we got to do it. Colin Gregory, we got to do it. We're going to do this one together. The Tigers and the Pirates are going to play a doubleheader. I know for me, I'm not saying anything about game one. I have no interest in game one. There is Scooble's a $3.50 favorite. That being said, I am intrigued with the matchup in game two. I'll start with Bryan Leonard. How are you approaching the Pirates-Tigers doubleheader today?
Well, first of all, both of the games is going to have precipitation. The first game is more than the second. The first game is looking at game time, 1 o'clock, 62%, 57%, 57%. And then it goes down to the second game, in which game starts at 33, 33, 23. So it's going to be another wet day. I don't understand. Why would you start Scooble in the first game, knowing there was more of a chance for delays in that? I don't understand. He's going against Haney. We got what we wanted. We got the rain out yesterday, and we had the opportunity to have Skeens against Scooble. Management did not want that, so we got two lefties going, Haney and Scooble. Scooble, as you mentioned, about a 350 favorite, a little bit less, maybe 3. Yeah, I see a 325 out there one place, but 7 on the total. The second game, Skeens, and then Detroit hasn't decided yet. Skeens currently about a 140 favorite, and 7. Because of the weather, I'm going to pass on these two games. Keep in mind, today the wind is blowing pretty well. That San Francisco wind has gotten from 8% to 12%. Today it's blown out to center for 20%. Didn't matter the last 2 days. They didn't go over. Two poor hitting teams at this point. But overall, the wind's blowing out today in every game except for the Cubs game, which is blowing in slightly, if you want to take into that account. There was 4 games yesterday that had major weather concerns. 3 of them were rained out. The other one was rain shortened. So with this, as many games as we got going today, I'll shorten my talk here and just say I'm going to pass on that one.
So a lot of people asking me, what's your projection for so-and-so for strikeouts today? If you go to my Twitter, Tokyo_Brandon, I'm going to post every pitcher's strikeout projection that I have today. My strikeouts have not been winning at a huge rate, so take it with a grain of salt, but I'm going to post that on my Twitter, so take a look. I'm going to do it as soon as I'm done talking here, so take a look in about a minute after I'm done talking. So game one is the only one I would talk about, opposite of Adam, but like he said, it's going to rain perhaps, and a lot of unknowns here. But Haney, I think we got Haney versus Skubal, and Haney's a good pitcher since he's left the Angels. He's good. I guess the under would be a good way to go here. Pirates are hitting 28th out of 30 teams, so not good, but they got a good bullpen. So you know what happens when teams can't hit, but they can hold the other team down. It's ripe for an under. So under would be the only way I would look. However, the aforementioned strikeout props that I said earlier, Skubal's strikeout prop, I think they have him at 8.5. He that's really high. I'm projecting him at 6.98. So maybe, I'm tempted to take an under 8.5 there, but I'm not that dumb. I'm not going to. But man, 8.5 is really high. Really high. I mean, he could strike out 9. I think he struck out 11 once, and I think he struck out 13 in another game. So it's obviously, if anyone's going to strike out 9 guys, it's going to be him. But are you going to bank on it? Not sure. So that would be another way to go. So I'm going to post all my strikeout projections right now to my Twitter. Go ahead, Adam.
G Hurt thinks Skeens is moving to Detroit. He thinks Skeens is going to be a Tiger in the future. I love that's an ambitious call, but hey,
I'll take that.
I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know. I feel like someone else is going to come in and pay him. I didn't know the Tigers had that kind of coin. But anyway, listen, I will be watching this doubleheader like a hawk. I think I really want to see how the first game plays out. I love the thought of potential rain, and then maybe there is a delay. So the rain is early. They will get these games in. Remember, Pirates and Tigers don't really play. They don't play, and you would have to find a mutual off day to finish this series. The rain's going to be done around 3:00. So you will see 2 baseball games in Detroit today, even if they're there till 10 p.m. They have to get these games in, or else they're going to have scheduling issues going forward. So as long as it's not raining, which it doesn't look to be raining after 3, they're going to get these games in. I would love the Tigers having to sit around a little bit in the early game. I agree with Bryan. Why are they depriving us of Skubal versus Skeens in the late game when there's going to be no weather? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it still could be the case. So a couple things I'll be looking for. Pitching projections for the doubleheader are basically just because that's what the app thinks they're going to be. I don't know if that's been announced yet. So I suppose they could flip it last second, in which case I would be inclined to, maybe look at the Pirates if they were going to match up Haney and then whoever the next pitcher is going to be, which I think is going to be a bullpen type scenario, maybe a Kiter Montero bulk day, which is something I'd be willing to play against. 2, if the Tigers use some arms in the first game, maybe it's a 3-hour game. Maybe there's a delay. And now suddenly they're going to have to turn around in an hour and get tuned up to face Paul Skeens. I'm going to like the Pirates there. The problem is I don't like where I see that number going as of right now. I think it's -140. I don't know if I want to lay $1.40 with the Pirates. If that was -120, I'd be in. So that's what I'll have my eye on. I will look for a way to play the Pirates, but my gut tells me I'm going to get priced out because it looks like the books want to juice up Skeens today for whatever reason. So Pirates
kind of like
passed.
the Yankees. It's hard to lay juice when the team can't hit, right?
Yeah, I don't know that the Pirates can't hit. They're just, but yeah, they're not this is just, the Pirates are just what they are, right? They're not slumping. That's just, you're going to get 3-4 runs a game from them, and that's just going to be it.
I'll rephrase it. I'll rephrase it. The Pirates aren't hitting.
Right, which is not news. They haven't hit all season. But when you have Paul Skeens, if you can get 3 or 4 runs, you have a pretty good chance to win the game. That's
if you can get 2 runs.
Going to be an interesting doubleheader there for sure. And I would, like I said, give me more chaos in that. Give me chaos in the first game. Give me rain delays. Give me bullpen usage, and I'll probably find a way to play the second game. That's what Ethan says. Pirates don't want to go Skeens versus Skubal. Yeah, that's actually a great point. Ethan Bainbridge, best point made so far on this game. It's the Pirates that don't want to do that, because the Pirates would be giving up their biggest edge that they'll have in any series by putting Skeens up against Skubal. So they will probably avoid the Skeens-Skubal matchup. That makes total sense to me.
Giving up their only chance to
I don't
win.
think it matters. If they're willing to give that game up, why don't they just go out and throw all their bench players against Skubal? Then he will get the eight strikeouts.
No, I'm just saying though,
in that game and let their better players play the other game. I don't know.
Why do you think that doesn't make sense? I think that makes complete sense. I get it. Like the Pirates are 29 and 45. They're probably not playing for much, but if you look at a road doubleheader, like we've got to try to split this doubleheader. Why would you want Skeens up against Drake Skubal?
They only score 2 runs a game for Skeens anyway.
Yeah.
He's got to lose. He doesn't win when he pitches anyway. I would not change the lineup based on that. It's just as a fan, I would like to see those two pitch.
I fully agree with Ethan there. I think it's a great point, but we'll move on. Let's move on to. I think we should talk about the other doubleheader. I know I'm intrigued in double. I love doubleheaders because I feel like it creates more variables that the books have a harder time staying on top of. You get a 27th man. Who's that 27th man, right? How is it going to impact oftentimes it's a pitcher, right? Where do they play into the doubleheader? What bullpen arms get used, and how does it go from game 1 to game 2? Like what happens to create potential value? So I love talking the doubleheaders. Anytime we have a doubleheader and we're doing one of these shows, we're going to talk about it. So let's talk about the other one: Cardinals, White Sox. Our guy, Eric Fed, former NC Dino, as Tokyo Brandon and I celebrate an improbable KBO win this morning on SSG. Our guy, Eric Fed, pitching the first game against his old team, the Chicago White Sox. Sean Burke. You guys probably know where I'm going to look in this series, but we'll let Bryan Leonard start it off. Cardinals, White Sox, what do you got?
Well,
Adam is the White Sox homer.
I've always pronounced it Fetty. Is it Fed?
I think it's Fetty.
No,
is it Fetty?
I think it's Fetty. Yeah. I think it's Fetty.
All right.
But I don't know him, so I can't confirm.
Insult anybody.
I think you're right.
Half the time I can't remember their names anyway, so when I do say it, I want.
None of us know him, guys. In the comments, pipe down. You've never met him. You don't know how he says his name, so relax. Seriously.
Thankfully we don't have to do Asian baseball today anymore because I would just butcher Korean names.
Yeah. I called Devers Devers, man, and they just went crazy. Like you've ever met him, you know how he says it.
By the way, he wants to be called Rafi now. I watched the game yesterday. They've decided to call him Rafi, not Raphael. Okay, here we go. Eric Fetty, 3.65 ERA, 4.98 expected, so he's been a little lucky. 1.28 WHIP. Good extension, 7th percentile, but that's about it. His whiff rate, 5th percentile, strikeout rate, 5th percentile, 12th percentile chase rate, expected batting average. Fetty's one of those guys, whatever you want to call him, is one of those guys that is more of an innings eater. He's had decent years last year, 3.30. Can't argue with that. 1.16 ERA. This year, not quite as good, but both much better than when he used to be in 2022 before he went and played overseas. Sean Burke for the White Sox here. I thought the White Sox, even though it wasn't a play yesterday, I thought they had a little bit of a chance in yesterday's game. They had the pitcher I liked on the mound. Did not work out well. Sean Burke's already got 7 losses on the season. He's 4.75 ERA, 5.45 expected, 1.44 WHIP. He has not been good. The extension 92nd percentile, average exit velocity 68th, but the rest of his numbers are all in the blue. Ground ball rate 10 percentile, strikeout 17. He's not a guy that you really want to back here. So could we see runs here? Let's take a look at the weather report for the first game with the Cubs, or excuse me, the White Sox. Looks like decent, sunny, about 80 degrees and about a 14% chance of rain. So it should be a pretty good hitting atmosphere here in game 1. We're looking at St. Louis is about a 140 favorite, total of 9. It opened 8.5, just got hit a little bit ago in the last 5 minutes. So they're thinking the same way as I am, slightly to the over.
So yeah, running the numbers, I got Sean Burke ranked higher than Fetty, but both guys are walking at a slightly alarming rate. I have the Cardinals with a significant bullpen advantage here and a significant hitting advantage, but um, significant is maybe an overstatement. I have the Cardinals batting pretty mediocre at the moment, and White Sox pretty low. White Sox bullpen is just bad, so something you may be able to take advantage of. I'm not going to bet this game, but if anyone out there is inclined to take the White Sox, you might want to make it a first 5 bet because their bullpen really is pretty bad. I got Sean Burke ranked higher than Fetty, but the eye test says Fetty's a little better. I don't know. All of it just crashes in front of me and blows up, so I'm not going to bet this game.
I actually maybe spoke too soon. I was hoping for, again, chaos in game 1 because I didn't think either team had announced much for game 2, but it looks like the Cardinals are going to recall Mike McGreevy to make the game 2 start, who's someone I like a lot. And it looks like it's going to be Mike Vasil, the SEAL. We're not going to, I'll butcher 5 more names on the show. So I don't want to hear anything with the name pronunciation. Mike Vasil, who was a guy that the Mets organization kind of gave up on. I never really cared for him when he was here in Syracuse for a while. Got to see him pitch a bunch. He made it to the big leagues at the start of this season with Chicago. Has actually been, his numbers are solid, but I think he was mostly he's mostly been a reliever to this point. I think he's kind of started the last couple games. I would be surprised if he's more than 3 or 4 innings in that second game. I know that it feels to me like they want him to be a starter. That's what he always was in the Mets organization. So when he was here in Syracuse, he was a rotation regular, never made it up to the bigs with the Mets, pitched well out of the bullpen to start the season for Chicago. That's why his numbers are so good. I see what they're trying to do. They're going to kind of try to see if he can start. I don't have a ton of confidence with him second, third time through the order. So there would be some real appeal here. Mike McGreevy's a stud. I actually don't know how they haven't figured out how to get him into that rotation on a regular basis at this point. He'll come up, he'll throw a gem, he'll be back at Memphis, where he pitches extremely well since last year. He's really good, and I'd love to find a way to play the Cardinals in the second game, but I feel like they're not going to give us the number that we want. That being said, I mean, if the White Sox somehow win game 1 and burn some bullpen, and you can get Cardinals like minus 150 in game 2, McGreevy versus Vasil, knowing Vasil's probably 4 innings, tough to not like the Cardinals in that scenario. Go ahead, Brian.
I just want to point out Robert S., going back to the Detroit doubleheader, he says, usually the veteran starting pitcher of the two gets to make the call for which game they want to pitch. A lot of teams do it that way. If Scooble knows that Skeens is pitching the second game, makes a lot of sense that he would want to go the first game. So I really appreciate that information, Robert. And by the way, a lot of people know I'm a little bit down based on my day-to-day. A lot of cheerful comments there. I do appreciate them. Every day's different. I'm a veteran. I've done this for over 40 years, but still, it's a little frustrating when you got a day that you really like the card and you pulled up. It just didn't work out that way for us. But thank you. I appreciate that.
I feel you. I should be thrilled at the run I'm on right now. I've been really good in June, probably up 16 or 17 units on the month after the SSG win. I've lost 6 or 7 5%ers in a row. Someone figure that out. I mean, it's like I was on the Giants last night, ended up 2-1 yesterday. Of course, the 5%er lost. But like that sucks. But I'll take the winning month over the 5% winners. You know what I'm saying? I know it's going to piss people off. This is why Koken never gave out 5%ers. I figured it out now because there was probably a point in time where he lost 7, 8 of them in a row, got a whole bunch of shit, and he said, "You know what? People are over betting these. I'm not giving him out." That's why he always used to say, "I hate the 5%ers." He'd give out like 1 a year. But he had retirement money at that point. I need the sales, so we still have to do the 5%ers every once in a while. That being said, I'm probably giving out whatever I had today for free. I don't like selling on a day after I lost when a bunch of people bought it. So I haven't bet anything yet, but we'll find something for you guys today.
I'm the only one that had a good day yesterday.
So yeah, I mean, listen, buy whatever Tokyo Brandon's got up. I'm
not saying
tweeting.
That. You guys, you know what? The best time to buy is, could be the best time to buy is after a losing day. Because cappers like us, we don't lose like 3 days in a row usually. So,
Swaggy, one more comment before we move on from the Cardinals White Sox series. Swaggy says Vasil's barely seen any second time through the order this year and never a third time. It's a great point. I really think the Cardinals will, and this goes back to the doubleheader theory, right? Let's say the White Sox are in a tight game in the first game and they have to use some arms. They are going to want length out of Vasil, right? Because they've used him as a starter the last 2 times, 3 and a third and 4 innings. I could totally see them in a scenario where they're like, can we get 5? Can we get 5 out of him? And they push it a little bit. And suddenly a Cardinals lineup that has professional at-bats is suddenly got something going and breaks it open at some point. So that's one that's very intriguing to me. Have my eye on that doubleheader as well. All right, we're rolling. We still have to get parlay legs locked in. We still have 25 minutes left. A lot of show still to go. Let's go to this one. Colin Gregory. This is an interesting matchup. Very even matchup in my opinion. And a big game in the NL East. Braves Mets. Strider on the mound. Bryan, Leonard, you've kind of had some opinions on Strider since he's came back. Do you have an opinion in Braves Mets for us?
Yeah, he's looked a bit better the last 2 times out. I did have the Mets yesterday. I thought they were a live dog based on Sale being pushed back. He's like the only guy who's been pushed back in the last week that came out and still raked. He was fantastic yesterday, so I ended up losing that one. But Holmes against Strider. We're looking at Strider about a 130 favorite, 8.5 over 25, 9 under 25 in that range. So 8 3/4 if you were Steve Fezzik. Looking at this game here, Holmes has been pretty good on the season, a little bit up and down. 2.87 ERA, but his expected ERA is over a full run higher, 3.91, 1.17 on the whip. Great ground ball pitcher, 88th percentile, which really helps because he's only in the 7th percentile in extension. So the opposition has more time to see his pitches, and he does have a lot of pitches. He throws 6 pitches at least 7% of the time. That's something you've got to love. If you like starting pitching, you've got so many pitches for this guy to be able to throw and keep the opposition off balance, and that's the strength of his game. But he does get hit hard every once in a while, so that is a concern. And when we take a look at Strider, we know what we're going to get. At least we think we know what we're going to get at this point. He's at 4.35. He got his ERA down to 4.35, although he's 1-5 on the season. His expected ERA 4.27, whip 1.16, which considering coming back from surgery like that to get his whip that low this early, it's 1.08 in his career. So he's been pretty good in that situation. His whiff percentage is excellent, 92nd percentile, strikeout percentage, 85th percentile, and extension 88th. But his average exit velocity, he's been getting hit hard. Now, a lot of that happened when he first came, the first few starts. He was 1%. He's like the league worst in average exit velocity, 13th percent in ground ball rate, 10th percent in barrel rate. But a lot of that happened early. If you take a look at his game logs, last game out, he played the Rockies, 6 innings of shutout ball. The game before that, he played the Giants, a team that's somewhat struggled offensively, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. But before that, the Diamondbacks laid him up for 5-5. And he did pretty well against Philadelphia in the one before that. So he's been pretty good as of late. If I had to play it, I would lean Atlanta here. I think he's in better current form than Holmes is. But it's rare that you get a team like the Mets with a pitcher like Holmes it plus money. So I could see playing this game either way. I won't be involved.
Totally agree with Brian's analysis. Brian, do you think Strider is back?
He's looked back the last 2 times. His velocity is down. He's still down. He was down 3 miles an hour earlier. Then he made it to 2. So he's starting to get a little bit back in that regards. But when you start off with throwing it as hard as he does, it's more advantageous than if the guy came in as a 93 mile an hour fastball and then lost 3 miles an hour.
Adam, I'll ask you the same thing, but first, let me give my quick analysis on this. I have Holmes ranked a lot higher than Strider, and I don't know if that's because Strider had a rough start and my numbers are focused too much on the negative here. But I have Holmes ranked higher, but like Brian said, his expected ERA is almost a full run higher than his actual number. So he's not a guy you want to put a lot of trust in, but Atlanta ranks much higher in bullpen. Like the Mets bullpen is reeling right now. They're not playing well. Got them ranked really low towards the bottom, like 26th. And Atlanta's is 9. Atlanta's hitting, I got them ranked 9 and the Mets 12 at the moment. So yeah, a lot of mixed signals here. I got Atlanta ranked higher than the Mets, but the Mets, you don't want to bet against that lineup because at any moment they could just bust out. So I think the Mets lineup is actually better than Atlanta's when they're full throttle. But I'm staying away from this one as well, just like Brian. Adam, do you think Strider's back?
I mean, 13 strikeouts in a Major League Baseball start is very impressive, but against the Rockies, especially the games in Atlanta against the Rockies, I would need to see more than that. I guess the reason I say that is there was he had a AAA start before he made his season debut against Toronto, where he struck out like 13 guys, and kind of
same
came
level
out.
As Colorado.
I mean, the thing is, we say that facetiously. That Colorado lineup is just like whatever collection of guys they feel like having at the big league level. The guys at AAA were the guys at the big league level, couple, like maybe at the beginning of the year, they just, with no regard, they just cycle through. They're like, yeah, Zach Veen, we'll throw you in. Now you're back at AAA. Toglia, go back down. Now you're back up. Like no rhyme or reason. So we say that like jokingly, but it really is a AAA-esque lineup now for the Rockies. So am I going to put a ton of stock in him going out and mowing down Colorado when his previous starts were, San Francisco and Arizona kind of labored through them a little bit, some walks in those starts, the Philly game, 4 walks. I don't know. I actually don't. I'll need to see this one. That being said, it's an easy decision for me. I'm too high on the Mets long-term to lay this number against the Mets. It would have to be Mets or pass from a value standpoint for me. I still think you made a comment on the bullpen. The Mets bullpen is far better. They just need to they're just odd. Team is just out of sorts right now, but long term, this Mets team, in my opinion, it's not close. I think the Mets are a far better baseball team than the Braves. I actually don't think it's even remotely close. So when I think that, I'm almost looking at this and saying you're plus 120, right? Like if it gets to plus 120, do I have to just take a shot with the Mets here? Certainly makes sense from a value standpoint. Not sure that I'll do it, but definitely would be Mets or pass from a number standpoint for me here. Going back to Kaz in the chat, I'm going to try to set this one up without going on a total crash out here because I had the Giants last night, 5% play, and she is right. They can't capitalize. They leave guys on base. 2 of those Guardians runs, I'm sure Bryan watched the game. 2 of those Guardians runs, just poor defense by the Giants. Whoever the right fielder was, lost the ball in the sun, led to an early run. Verlander actually threw the ball well yesterday. That 3-run homer was set up. There should have been 2 outs, no one on. Little league error by the second baseman, just boots a routine grounder. Suddenly, instead of 2 outs, no one on, there's a man on first. Think he walks the next guy, turns into a man on second, turns into a 3-run homer. Guardians didn't really do anything the rest of the game. Giants had their chances, probably 5 leadoff runners on. But as Kaz points out, this team can't capitalize. In the back of my head, I was like, Brian's right. Devers slows him down. I saw him out there on the bases. I'm like, he's not scoring from first. He might not score from second if he gets there. It was like, I'm thinking, like, is this a station-to-station team that can't really hit Brian Leonard? How are you looking at this one today, Guardians, Giants?
Yeah, you mentioned the first inning error. I'm assuming it was an error. But that they started the game a half an hour earlier than they normally do. I didn't understand that. That was the first thing that I had noticed, because he had caught a fly ball in right field right before that, and he was really struggling. He had his sunglasses on, and the wind was blowing a lot. Like I said earlier, it's going to be 20 miles an hour blowing out to center today. Even Dwayne Kuiper and the other announcer talked about the wind. Anytime there was a pop-up yesterday, it was a guessing game. The third baseman would call it, and the second baseman would catch the pop-up. It was one of those days that the wind was really bad. The sun was bad early on, and they still couldn't get over the total in that situation. So Gavin Williams going today, 3.89 ERA, 4.54 expected. Whip has been his problem, 1.47. He's gotten a little bit better as of late, but he's still got a 12.9 walk rate on the season. That's not Major League Baseball. You don't. The league average is 8.4. He's at 11 in his career. His walk rate is in the 6th percentile in Major League Baseball, in Major League Baseball. Barrel rate 27%, expected ERA 26. Now he does have a very good fastball, 86th percentile. His whiff rate 76th percentile, and he's got great extension. He's a big guy, 6'6", and he's in the 86th percentile of that. I have been wrong on him all year. I have thought the way he looked in spring training, I thought this was the breakout year, and I kept betting on him early, and he'd walk too many batters. He couldn't last longer in the game and not long enough to get a win. He had not been good. He is pitching better now, but he's going up against the ace of the Giants in Logan Webb. 2.58 ERA, 2.86 expected, 1.12 whip. He's got excellent numbers across the board. The only weakness is his fastball velocity is only in the 25th percentile. Everything else is better than league average. Just a tremendous ground ball pitcher. He doesn't give up many home runs. He's got great extension, even though he's only 6'1". He's in the 83rd percentile, barrel rate 87th percentile. I think watching these games and being a Cleveland fan, my wife and I watch every game here. I think San Francisco, since the trade with all that's gone on with Devers, they're paying more attention to watching Devers and the way he goes about his business than they are playing baseball. They even talked about it, that some of the swings that he's always been a free swinger, swings from his heels, as they say, and the players have talked about it. The fans will go ooh and ah. Well, if you swing and miss, I don't care how you're swinging it. A miss is a miss. And part of me thinks that once they made that trade, they thought they were going to be in really good shape, and they have not been. They have not played well. Cleveland has not played well either. They've gotten these victories, but they don't deserve these wins. They have not outplayed the opposition. When Cleveland gets back home, they'll be a favorite, and they'll probably be a good fade in that regard. But if I had to play it, I'd play the Giants because I think they got a sizable pitching edge. But then again, you're laying 168 to 170, total 7.5 to the under. But as I said, the wind's blowing out 20 miles an hour. And if the wind affects pop-ups like it did yesterday, there could be a lot of bad defense in this one. So 7.5 is kind of low, actually, even as bad as these two are hitting. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I'll be probably passing on this.
Gavin Williams is the number one chronic walker in all of Major League Baseball. He's averaging almost 3 walks per start. And the Giants are one of the biggest walking teams in Major League Baseball. They have almost 4.6 walks per game. So, Gavin Williams, the books already know this, though. So you will not get a 1.5 walks for Gavin Williams. It's going to be 2.5. He has to walk 3 guys for you to make money. He has walked 3 or more in most of his starts, but sometimes he doesn't. So be careful. But that would definitely be a play to look at. Gavin Williams over 2.5 walks today. Other than that, with the addition of Devers, San Francisco is legitimate. They have a legitimate shot of not winning the division. I didn't say that. But they're definitely going to challenge the Dodgers in this division. I thought it would be the Padres challenging them, but it looks like it's the Giants. And it looks like my future bet on the San Francisco Giants not to make the playoffs pretty much dead in the water at this point. They've already got 40 wins. So, yeah, they're probably going to make the playoffs. Webb, amazing guy. He's a top 10 pitcher out of 250 that I rank. San Francisco does everything better than the Guardians. I don't know how they lost the first 2 games. Bryan and Adam alluded to it, though, like drop balls, just weird stuff happen. I can't see the Guardians winning 3 in a row against this team. But I like the walks prop. So that might be where I'll go here.
Was texting with my buddy Nate, who's a big baseball guy. We text back and forth constantly, like just watching games. And I was on Tuesday, I was like, I made a joke. I was like, you'd think the Giants just traded for Hank Aaron. Like they're acting like this guy is like they're watching Babe Ruth out there. Like, it's unbelievable. I agree with you, Brian. Like I think they were enamored with like the spectacle. I mean, it's friggin' Rowdy. Like it's not even like it's Ohtani or something. Like it's like dude, you got like okay, like yeah, you got a 3-hitter, great. Totally just like yeah, the lack of focus last night to even put themselves in that position. It's like Verlander went out there, pitched his tail off, was really good, really, and was just let down by. I'll give it to the sun was at a tough angle. I'll give it to the right fielder. The error by the second baseman was really bad. But then it was just like you're up against Logan Allen, who doesn't throw the ball by anyone. In a scenario where contact should put you in a great place to succeed when there's wind. And I even think one of the Giants' hits was a swirling wind pop-up that decided to land on the inside of the foul line. Probably one of the 5 leadoff base runners that they had that they couldn't bring around to score. And it's just like you just can't get any juice in other than like, honestly, they're 2 runs, a 2-out Heliot Ramos homer. We're kind of like found, right? Like it wasn't like they didn't get anything going. The one thing they had going, first and second no outs, Ramos grounds into a double play. That being said, I'll go back to TB's point about the walks. The Giants will take their walks. And that's the one thing you can't give a team that's struggling to string hits together. You can't give them walks. That's one thing that is like the cardinal sin. I'm going to make Giants money line my parlay leg. I'm stubborn like that. I don't like the price enough to bet this straight, but I really think they win today. So Brian Leonard, give me a market average price on Giants money line right now.
Giants money line 171, I would say.
We'll call it 175. It's about where I expected it to be. Not something I'm going to bet straight, but I think it's fine for the parlay. All right, Brian Leonard, I'm going to let you propose the next game or give a parlay leg out, and then we'll finish up with Tokyo Brandon. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at this Houston Athletics game. Current line, they got Gordon going against Lopez, 2 lefties. Houston's about a 128 favorite. Total 10.5 to the under 20 or 10 to the over 20. I like the Houston side here. I've talked about this being a lefty-lefty situation here. On the season, I recently talked about the Yankees, how they've dropped. Houston has taken over the number 1 in WRC plus versus lefties at 139. That's where the Yankees were earlier. This is a team that hits lefties very good. And the Athletics are not bad against lefties. 100, the 12th in Major League Baseball. So both teams are able to hit lefties pretty well, which is probably why we were getting that total in the 10.5 range. But even though Colton Gordon, his numbers are not eye-popping at all with a 4.70 ERA, 1.34 whip, he's pitched over 30 innings in Major League Baseball, and he's got a 3.45 ERA. But the key numbers I always talk about, strikeout minus walk ratio, 23.1 on the strikeout ratio, 3.1 on the walk. He's got a 20.0 strikeout minus walk ratio, and nobody pays any attention to him. His walk rate is in the 99th percentile, extension 84th percentile. He's 6'4". He's a pretty big guy. He's not going to blow you away with his velocity or anything like that, but the guy doesn't put players on base. And when you're playing a team like Oakland is really struggling, Oakland, Sacramento, whatever, the A's, it's a situation where you can't put those guys on base because they're struggling. So that's something I really like. As for Jacob Lopez, I played him on the road the other day, and I like his strikeout minus walk numbers on the season. 29.0 strikeout, 9.4 walk, which puts him just slightly under 20%. His extension is in the 93rd percentile, hard hit rate, the 95th percentile, strikeout, 86th percentile. But the problem is he's a major fly ball pitcher. He's in the first percentile in ground ball rate. Home runs are something he gives up, and you're playing a team that leads baseball in WRC plus at 139, 39% better than an average team. I like Houston in this game. In fact, Houston, the number right now is 126. Let me see what Houston is on the team total here. We're looking at 5.5 at plus money on the over. Yeah, let's do that. Let's play Houston team total over 5.5 at plus 110.
Astros team total over 5.5. What did you say the juice was on that, Brian?
Plus 110.
TB, any thoughts? Astros, A's. We'll come back and get your parlay leg. We still have a few minutes, but I want to finish this game up. Go ahead.
Yeah, parlay leg is a game we already covered. I'll just do it real quick at the end. Regarding this game, I have the pitchers pretty even. Bryan and I, we measure the same statistic, but we do it in a little different way. His walks ratio is amazing. So he only walks 11% of the guys he strikes out, which is really amazing rate. Jacob Lopez, though, no sluff. He's only at 28%, and the normal MLB pitchers between 30 and 40%. Neither of these guys really walk a lot. I have the pitchers pretty equal, but the Astros dominate everything else pretty much, which is why I took them yesterday for my 5% play, which was good. Probably will win this one as well, but I don't have the discrepancy as big as I had it yesterday. It's not over the threshold that I would normally make a play on, so I'm going to stay off of it, but Astros would probably be the only way to go here.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. Astros are one of the teams I'm looking at for today. Potential client play. Haven't locked it in yet, but Colton Gordon, for a guy that kind of watched quite a bit of at Sugarland, didn't know if he would do much at the big league level. I feel like he's kind of held his own. And Lopez has been okay. I mean, he had that one blow up, but he's been all right, in my opinion. Wouldn't be surprised to see runs. I think that goes without saying. But the Astros right now, they're just starting. They're in that May to June Astros form where they just find ways to win games and climb the ladder to the top of the AL West. It seems like they do it every year, and they're not really a team I want to bet against right now. I still think that this A's lineup profiles to be better against right-handed pitching. So, I think there's a little bit of an edge there, for the Astros in that regard. And the price, being as though they have a lefty on the mound, I think the A's are going to probably going forward struggle a little bit more against lefties, especially when it's like Kurtz and Soderstrom and all those guys in the lineup. And then, the price point is very fair here, in my opinion. So I think the Astros is a great bet today, and it's one I'll be giving a look for. I wouldn't be surprised if Astros ends up making my card. All right, TB, it is time. We need you to give us that third leg of the parlay so we can lock today's parlay in.
Yeah, I'm going to go game one. So I'll either lose it or win the first one very early. Pirates. We're going to go Pirates, Tigers, under 3.5 in the first 5. It's minus 124 on Pinnacle. Bryan, maybe you have a different number, but I think between 125 and 130 is probably where it's going to be at. under 3.5, first 5. Game 1 of the Pirates-Tigers game.
All right. Game 1, the Haney Scooble game. It's first 5 is 3.5 minus 125.
Perfect. Yep, that's what I'm seeing as well. And Brian, you said the juice on that Astros team total over was plus 110.
That's what I'm getting, plus 110. Yeah.
All right. So we have, I think what we have is like a pretty nicely spaced out parlay today. Depending on what time that Astros game is. Is that Astros? Yeah, it's a night game. So yeah, well, hopefully we get to that point. TB and I'll have to come through for that to happen. So yeah, it's a nice this hopefully this parlay gives you entertainment for 12 hours because that's how spaced out these games are. We have TB kicking us off in game 1, Pirates-Tigers, first 5, under 3.5. The next play will be Giants minus 175. That's a full game bet. And then we've got Bryan closing it out. Astros team total over 5.5. And that should come out as I lost it. I had it and I X'd out, which I do every day somehow. That should come out plus a shade under 5-1. So I'm seeing like plus 494. Probably going to look at the 490 to 5-1 range. We had one. We had one, I think, on Monday. I think we had one on Monday when it was just me and Bryan, and we are still dangerously close to the high water mark of the season. So I think if we hit this one, we will be at our high point of the season. These have been very successful, even with a gut-wrenching loss yesterday because of the Yankees, because we had the first 2. Hopefully we can bounce back, get it today. One more time. Pirates-Tigers first game. Pirates-Tigers game 1, first 5, under 3.5. Then we've got Giants full game money line, all into the Astros team total over 5.5. And I think I know me and Bryan Bryan and I would both agree. If you can't get the Astros team total in a parlay, I know I'm good with just using the Astros. And I think Bryan would probably agree with that as well. All right. We have reached the finish line. Everyone have a great Thursday. A lot of day baseball out there. Some good games today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Jump in the comments. We really do appreciate it. It helps the show tremendously, all the interaction in the comments. And we'll see you guys tomorrow right back here, 9 a.m. Friday total bases, last one of the week, hopefully with a parlay winner. See you guys tomorrow.